Welcome to my journey and welcome to Friday. Tonight we are having fried chicken livers, cream potatoes, and crowder peas. First thing I want to start is my cream potatoes. Chunky potatoes about yay big. And then cover them just with water. Add a little bit of chicken bouillon powder. And you're going to cook these, boil them until they're just getting good and tender. Don't boil them too long because then you'll bring out too much starch and your taters will be gummy. So while those are starting to cook, we're going to clean our livers. Okay, this was supposed to be sketty night, but when I went to the store, I saw they had the livers marked down $1.01. So I had to get them. So that's why we changed last minute. You don't pass a $1 batch of chicken livers. There we go. And we are just going to cut the membrane off. I don't know what you want to call it, but you see how there's, I don't want to drip blood, but can you see right there where they're stuck together? You want to trim that. Now it looks like I wasted a lot of livers, but I'm not going to have that stuff. I'm not going to eat it if that mess is on there. So it is what it is. And it's funny, I don't like touching raw chicken, but chicken livers don't bother me in the least. Only thing about them is they're ice cold and they hurt your fingers. Okay, that is all. So we are just going to let these sit here until the potatoes are done, and then we'll fry them last because I want them to be fresh for David. Okay, now I just want to show you. See how it's starting to get thick? Don't go much past that because then your taters is not going to be good. But see how that pushes against the side? I can't get hold of it. See how that pushes against the side? Okay, so let's drain them. Alright, now we're going to give them a little bit of salt and pepper and some butter. Okay, now I'm just going to mash them with this a little bit before I add the milk. Yeah, I'm calling that done. See that? Ooh, that's a good mashed tater. Now let's heat up our pan for the livers. Okay, we'll see if we got our pan hot enough. Just remember, hot pan, cold oil, foods won't stick. I learned that from a Frugal Gourmet back in the 80s. You can use whatever kind of oil you want to use. I'm just using Crisco. Just enough to coat the bottom. Okay, while that's doing it, let's start breading. And I'm going to use my tongs because I don't want my fingers all gummed up with gummy flour. So we're just going to take them. And we'll get all these in the pan. Okay, I'm going to need a little bit more Crisco in here. Let me get these in the pan. See where I'm losing it right there? The other ones are soaking it up. So let's pop a little bit more in there. Okay, what I forgot to tell you is they pop, and it hurts. I had to turn my burner down. This stove cooks so hot, and I always cook too high. That's just a flaw of mine. I have to run out of room. See, there went one. Okay, that is all of those. Now we're going to give them some salt. And I will use new tongs to flip them. I'm not quite ready to flip these yet. I'm going to let them bring up just a little bit more blood. Okay, let's start turning this first batch. See how nice and golden brown that is? Not even golden brown, it's deep brown. Oh yeah. That's the ticket right there. That's exactly what you want. Now while that is cooking, let's come over here. I am going to start us a can of crowder peas, because our crowder peas didn't make it. They didn't make it in the garden at all. So I get these in the can. They're really good. So I'm just going to put them on the simmer. Okay. I think this batch is ready on this side. There is our $1 batch of chicken livers. Definitely worth it. Now let me make my plate. Here you go. I love mustard on my chicken livers. So that is my supper for tonight, and I can't wait to dig in. P.S. I know they're good because I've already had one. It is Saturday, so happy weekend. I have already cooked a ½ pound of hamburger. I cooked a pound because that's what I had thawed out. And I'm saving the rest. When it cools off, I'll put it in the freezer. So this makes 2 servings. They're 2 large servings. But to this ½ pound of hamburger, you need to add 2/3 cup of tomato soup. Just canned tomato soup. Three-quarters cup of water, 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. I'm using Taco Bell mild. I probably have some of my own because I make my own taco seasoning, but I didn't even look. And I'm going to stir this around and let it come up to the boil. Alrighty, we are boiling. We're going to add 3/4 cup of instant rice. Don't use regular rice because it won't work. It has to be instant rice. Like minute rice, I just get Walmart brand. We'll take it off the heat. Cover it and let it sit for 5 minutes. Let's see, I'll slide it over here. Now while that is doing, we're going to fix our toppings. Okay, I have a head of leaf lettuce, green leaf lettuce. You don't like that little spine. Well, I don't mind it so much. David, he don't really care for it, but I washed it tried to dry it a little bit. I'm going to see if I can shred it. 2 servings. And then I have this little tomato. I don't use them on mine, so I'm just going to make one little small tomato for David. Okay, now we will open up our avocado. I hope this is ripe. Oh, that's a good looking avocado right there. Okay, time to make our nachos. Don't judge. We got some chips left from the Halloween party that we need to use. So that's why they're orange and black. So we will just scoop us out a little bit of this nachos. And I'm going to tell you what. You'd be surprised how tasty this is. I know you think tomato soup. This is delicious. So there's that. And then I think I will scoop on some sour cream. And then maybe a little lettuce. Some cheese. Gotta have cheese. And some avocado. I tell you, that's one of the best looking avocados I've seen in a while. I'll never be able to eat all this. There you have it. There is super quick beef nacho supreme. So that's what we're having tonight. It's Sunday, and tonight we're having cheesy wild rice soup. So the first thing we need to do, get your soup pan, pot, whatever, as long as it's got a cover. We'll make a box of long grain and wild rice. Now my recipe is written for Uncle Ben's, but I was looking at the pricing. This was a bit lower than Uncle Ben's, so that's why I'm going with it. So we want to add 1 tablespoon of butter because we're cooking it just like the box says. It says 1 tablespoon of butter, the rice, the seasoning mix, and 1 2/3 cups of water. And we need to bring this up to the ball. All right, it's coming up to the ball. So what I want to do is reduce the heat, put a lid on it, and we're going to let it simmer about 25 minutes-ish. We'll check it till the rice is tender, all the liquid's absorbed, you know. You know how rice is supposed to look when it's done. That's what we're going to do. Okay, the rice is done. Now we just need to add a can of cream of potato soup. I think I'm going to need some help. And 8 ounces of Velveeta. Cube it up. Make it melt better. Easier, I should say. And then we're just going to stir this around until the cheese just starts to melt a little bit. Okay, so you can see the cheese is getting melty. We need to add 4 cups of milk. My recipe says skim milk because I'm pretty sure I did this recipe when I was dieting on Weight Watchers or something like that. I don't know. But this is 2% with a little bit of whole milk to fill out the 4 cups. And so we're just going to simmer this until that cheese is completely melted. All right, so our soup is done. The cheese got melted. So let's serve up a bowl. Let's add some oyster crackers. And there you have it. cheesy wild rice soup. Okay, tonight's supper, I'm going to have some pinto beans, and I'm cooking them in a crock pot. They're dry. I haven't soaked them. Quit soaking them years ago when David figured out you didn't have to. So you just put them in a crock pot, cover them with plenty of water. Come back and check them while they're cooking. Crank it on, cover them, crank it on high, and let them go 4 to 6 hours. Now I'm not putting it, you can put a ham hock in there. It's really, really good, but last time it flared David's gout up, so I'm just cooking them plain. Well, the beans are still cooking, and it's getting close to supper, so I need to get my little red potatoes in the oven. All I'm doing, this is actually the little tin foil sheets you get at the Dollar Tree. I just cut them in half, perfect size. So I'm spritzing each side with this oil. It is avocado oil. Come out. And then I'm just going to wrap it up tight. These are going to go in at 375, and I don't really know how long to tell you because they're so little. I'm just going to check them. I'm probably just going to check them after a half hour and go from there. And then, let's see. Let's go ahead and start on our Swiss chard. All right, this is rainbow chard because you see the different colors of the stems. Let me get that off of there. Now, we have made the stems. You need to cook the stems a little longer, so you chop them like celery. Put them in there and cook them first to start to get them good and tender, and then put the greens in because it'll take these stems right here longer. But I'm not going to cook the stems tonight. I will cook like that part that's with the leaves, but that's all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to line these up so I got all the base of the stems together. And I'm going to just cut them off. And then I want to slice my greens, chop my greens, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to wash them. So I'm going to put them in this bowl over here. And I'm going to soak them in water and drain them before I cook them. So you can see, aren't they pretty? They're really pretty. A pretty green. And these are the ones David wanted. Instead of our greens, he said he wanted some Swiss chard. So he's getting some Swiss chard. You want to melt about a tablespoon of butter. And here are the greens. Now, don't skip this washing step because you can feel at the bottom. I always do it just because I want to know. You can feel a grit at the bottom of the bowl that falls off of this because it's grown in dirt. And when you water it, when it rains, whatever happens, it splashes it up. And they're dirty. So any greens you get, be sure and wash them. Okay, let's just add our greens in. And these will cook down just like any other green. Let's give them a little bit of salt. Now, you're going to watch these and stir them around every little bit. Cook them until they're as tender as you like them. We like our greens tender. I mean, we want them cooked. So, I don't really know how long it takes. I cook till something's done, not over over time. So anyway, I'll come back and show you the process after it gets down a little bit more. This is after about 5 minutes, and it will just keep getting smaller and smaller, which you'll see by the time we serve it. These little potatoes took 45 minutes. So what you're going to do now, just get you a cup or a jar or whatever. We're just going to smash them. Okay. Then what I want to do is give them a little salt. Little pat of butter. Want to put a little bit of cheese on each one. And I am going to pop this back in the oven. I turned the oven off, and I'm going to pop it back in there while it's warm, just to get this cheese to start to melt a little bit because it's cold. And then I will show you how we're going to dress it up on the plate. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a dollop of sour cream. Some real bacon bits. And if you watched my prep, I sliced my green onions because I knew there would be something I would need it for. So there we have it. Our smashed red potatoes. So I have my pintos all gussied up with some chopped onions and my homemade chow chow that I canned this summer. And that's how the Swiss chard turns out. So there you have it. There is Monday. Okay, it is Tuesday, and we're going to start by doing our taters. This is a recipe from my old church cookbook, Holly Farms taters, and I'm just going to start cutting these in wedges while we talk. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Holly Farms. It's a restaurant from way back in the day, and their taters were very famous. My mama, we had to go to Charlotte. She would go just for the taters. She didn't care if she had the chicken. She wanted the taters. So when I saw this recipe, it got my interest. Now, I'm feeling like this is not going to be authentic because I don't even know how they made theirs. But it was just an old recipe in an old book that just piqued my interest. And I am not making... It says use 6 large potatoes, but I think even this, I don't think I know, even making this 4 is going to be too much for us. But anyway, here we are. So in this bag, I have a 1/4 cup of plain flour and a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. And it says add a tablespoon of chicken seasoning. Well, I don't know what they consider chicken seasoning. So that's going to make a difference in how mine tastes. I'm going to use this, the Everglades seasoning, because we really like it. And to me, I think a tablespoon is too much. I think, I mean, two teaspoons. That's a 2/3 of a tablespoon. Well, it doesn't look very seasoned. I'm going to do it. I'm going for the full tablespoon. There. It's a done deal. But it says add salt and pepper. I'm going to add no salt. I think that will overdo it. Now what we do, I got my pan here, is we shake our taters in the flour. And put them in the pan. So let me shake these up. Alright, I very much miscalculated the size of my dish, so I got my 9x13 out. So if you make 6 large taters, you might have to use 2 pans. Now we're supposed to pour melted butter over the top. No amount, just said pour melted butter. So I'm just going to do that. All right, now we're putting this in a 400-degree oven It says 30 minutes, so I'll check it in 30 minutes. Well, I just looked at the menu and realized we're having lima beans. I was going to put them in a crock pot this morning, but they're not dry beans. They're frozen lima beans. But we like our beans soft, and lima beans is one of the toughest beans to get soft. That outer skin, it stays tough. It stays crunchier than we like. We like our beans good and done. So I'm just going to put them in my Instant Pot. I'm going to put them in there plain. Just enough water to cover them. And then, I don't care what any bag tells you to do. You cook your food the way you want to. I put these bad boys on 25 minutes. This package says, cook them in water on the stove here, 10 to 12 minutes. No, ma'am. We wouldn't eat them. So, pressure cooker it is. Now let's go on over here and start our hamburger steaks. Now if you remember what I tell you, hot pan, cold oil, foods won't stick. This pan has been preheated. I learned that from the Frugal Gourmet. I might even say that on this video. I'm not sure. Back in the 80s. So what I have put on this hamburger is this Shake Tasty. This is my second can of it since we found it. We love this stuff. Let me hit this side too. And if you leave these in here, they'll release themselves. Don't try to flip them before they're ready. They'll let off their juices and they'll release themselves, and then you can flip them over. All right, here's supper tonight. Listen, them don't look nor taste a bit more like Holly Farms taters than the Man in the Moon, but it's still a good tater. I mean, it's just a good tater. So, but I sure wouldn't call them Holly Farms taters if I had them fried, baby. But anyway, that's what we're having tonight. That will be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you when I see you.